So hello everyone, welcome to our roundtable about mentoring for developers. Today we have with us Daniel de la Cruz. He is a software engineer with more than 10 years of experience. He has been working in Typeform, King, and other companies. Currently he's working at Tempus.
Yeah.
Dani, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm very happy to be here.
And then we have also Eve, who is our head of people experience team in the tech part at the Planner. Hi, Eve.
Hi, Anna. Hi, Angel, and hi, Dani.
And we have also with us Angel Costela, who is a team leader of the backend team at the Planner.
Hi, nice to be here.
And Dani, please, if you want, let's start with your experience. Where did this idea come from, and when did you start it?
Okay. Well, I started with this professional mentorship project almost a year ago. It started the 4th of September in the year 19. And everything comes from a friend of mine who worked with me in a previous company. And he wrote me because he needed some guidance, some advice about what to do with his development plan. He had like a budget that the company offered him for his personal development, but he didn't know in what to invest it to. And my answer was, okay, so in the first place, what do you want to do with your career? Because you can invest it in many things. And then we started talking and we started doing some mentoring to each other, formal. And he offered me to pay me for it because he was getting what he expected just by talking to me. Then I started thinking that maybe other people might have this need and will be willing to pay for it. So I thought I could build a side business from this activity. And I started doing some research on my social networks, asking people if they would be willing for paying for this, how much, and then I started creating my website. And before announcing or promoting it or anything else, I already had a couple of people interested that found the web and wrote me. And then I think it started like that, like in a very organic way. Now I've done 9 mentorships so far in a year, and I'm starting to realize it doesn't scale because it just scales to what my free time allows. But yeah, I'm very happy doing this activity. I find I'm helping people.
Mm-hmm. What is your view in the development in the tech sector?
Well, I think some companies have enough resources to offer development plans and career paths to their employees, but most of the companies out there doesn't. We are very lucky in cities like Barcelona or Madrid, where we have very huge companies like Dog Planner, for example, or the companies I work with, and they have enough resources to do that. But people working in the rest of Spain, for example, work in small agencies, or they are freelancers and they don't have exposure and access to these resources. So I think it is not clear for those people what to do with their careers. They start being specialists like backend devs, front-end devs, but they can be working like that for 5-10 years and they don't know what to do next. They don't know what's the next step in their career. And even in those companies that are huge enough to have those resources, people may have a budget for investing in their development plan, but they don't know what to do with it because maybe perhaps they don't have the guidance or they don't have leaders that are worried by their needs, their motivations, and offering them answers of what to do with their careers.
Yeah, it's true. In fact, I think that one of the most challenging parts of my role as a team lead is that development plan with the people, because it's a complex task. Sometimes even they don't know what to do, and you are not going to tell them what they need to do because it's something personal. So it's more like I don't know. You need a deep analysis in what motivates them. You need to ask a lot of different questions, and they need to do a huge effort in thinking what motivates them, because sometimes we are not aware of what is moving us in our day-to-day work.
Oh, I would also add that the definition of development for each of us is different, and probably all of you would agree that there are a lot of myths around development, like that training are the best way to improve or to develop. So give to your people training budget, and they will be happy because they will feel that they are growing and developing. That is, of course, not true, because training is like 10% of how we learn and grow. The second myth is that, for example, each of us should be a team leader, and this is the only path that we can go, like junior, specialist, or mid, or regular, however we will call it. Then is the senior. So the next step is being team leader or manager. And it's also not the path for all of us, because there's a lot of other opportunities that we can grow and develop ourselves, but we need somebody that will show us these things. And this analysis that Angel mentioned about where I want to be, and do I really want to be a team leader, because maybe I would like to be an expert in some area, or maybe I would like to be a mentor for my younger colleagues or less experienced colleagues.
One of the biggest worries maybe for the people is the lack of knowledge of what are the options in the way, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say, as you were mentioning before, the most challenging thing is make people aware of what are their motivators. And very often I've found in the people I've been working with that they have an ideal of what they need to do in their career and what really drives them and what really moves them. And sometimes this is incompatible. Maybe they want to become more free or build their own company, but what really motivates them is being safe, stability, and things like that. So you have to choose. You cannot do all at the same time. You want to be a manager, but you don't like dealing with conflicts, for example. Maybe this is not the best path for you.
Yeah, or making decisions, right?
Or making decisions, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that sometimes it's something that we are facing a lot, at least in software development, that people think that naturally after being senior, you need to be team leader or manager. And always when I'm working with people assigned to my team or with other colleagues, and we are speaking about this, I'm always super clear about that. When I became a team leader, I didn't feel that as a promotion. I feel that it was like a step aside for starting a new journey and a new learning path, completely different from the pure technical one. And when somebody asks me, I want to be a team lead, I'm always pushing them a lot, like, why? Okay, what motivates you for being a team lead? Because, for example, if it's recognition, you don't need to be a team lead for getting recognition, because you can be a super good developer, you can be a mentor for other developers, and you will have that recognition. So you don't need to be a team lead for that. So I'm always pushing a lot these kind of questions, because we need to take into consideration that changing to these roles is not like growing in a promotion, it's growing in another path. And sometimes people doesn't have that super clear in their minds.
It's like having another job, right?
Yeah. Completely different job. Yeah.
So what could be your tip for the people that are interested in their development, and somehow, let's say that the circumstances or the mindset of the company doesn't help or support this growth? What could be your tip for them in order to discover these motivators and so on?
talk with people, like talk with the people that are already there. So it can be a team leader, it can be a mentor, it can be like, I don't know, project manager, or whatever the role we think that we would like to have in the near future. Talk with them about the pros and the cons, about the how much of the tasks every day they like, how much of them they don't like, they would like to skip, or what changed when they, for example, choose their role. So what was it before, what it's now, and what is the difference? But to really try to understand what changed and what can change for you as well when you step into this role.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I would say look outside your box, outside your context. Very often, what I recommend is reaching communities in your local city or in social networks. There are plenty of people eager to help and mentor others. I would say try to have exposure to the experience that others are having already, to figure out what do you need or figure out your own path there. If you are a developer, also a very good experience is try to help in an open source project. It's a way of dedicating some amount of time to know how other people are working in a synchronous way, in remote, knowing other code bases. And it's not only about the code, it's also dealing with issues, making decisions about the next steps of the projects. All these kind of experiences are helpful. And if you don't have the opportunity to be exposed to that experience in your company, open source, for example, it's a very quick way to reach that.
Yeah, I will also add that it's always a personal work. I mean, if your company is not supporting in your development plan, okay, it's great when your company is supporting, of course, but if it's not supporting you, you can always have your own plan, and you can speak with other people, you can go to other communities, as Daniel said, and develop that in that way. And if your company is supporting you, please take that opportunity, because it's amazing, to be honest. And of course, if you are not interested in working in your development plan, the company or your team can invest a lot of time with you. But if you are not interested, you won't do it, because in the end, it's a personal work, completely personal.
Yeah, let's be honest and say directly that your development is your responsibility. So company can help you, your team leader or your manager can help you, can support you by giving maybe some advices, maybe some tools, but in the end, it's up to you. If you want to do the step, no one will push you to develop.
That's why I like some approaches that some companies have, that is like flexible workshops or budget for learning things, or for documents or books or whatever. Because if your company comes one day and tell you, okay, the next week you are going to study this, it's like, but I'm not interested in that. So I prefer like having a budget or having the possibility to speak with your manager or somebody else and say, okay, I'm interested in doing this workshop or going to this conference, whatever, and work on that. But of course, it's your decision. So it's your personal responsibility. Yeah.
And what is it? Sorry.
Sorry, can I add a couple of things to what you just said about responsibility? I completely agree. Your development is your responsibility. This is what you are going to take away when you leave that company, in case you leave or not. This is going to be taken away as your life. And for understanding that, there is a book that really helped me a lot some years ago, and it's The Responsibility Process. It's a very good book for changing your mindset and stop complaining about your environment, blaming others about your current situation, and taking the responsibility of your action and your path. I totally recommend it.
And what could be your tip for the people that is actually working as a mentors, managers, team leaders? So we are talking about the process of the responsibility and so on, but I guess that for the other part of the process is also a responsibility to know what to do or what are the better ways of helping. We have talked about conferences or be part of other communities and so on. What could be your tip for the supporters of the developing?
Well, speaking about what I try to do, I'm going to speak about my experience. What I try to do is to make them aware of two pillars. First of all is lean mindset, like lean software development mindset, and this drives everything I try to make them understand, do, be aware of. I found this very useful in my career in making decisions about what I need to learn. For example, why do I need to learn how to do feature tokens? Why do I need to know about users, about understanding the value of developing something, understanding the simplicity of developing something? This mindset applied to everything I do makes me give a step back and understand that I'm not just a front-end developer or back-end developer, and I'm part of a company that is building a product, is offering a service, is delivering value to users. So this makes me talk better with UX, talk better with QA, understand what the backend is doing, understand why the business is making this decision, and how I can help with my specialty. This is my first pillar, and about knowing what to learn, I try to make them aware of having a growth mindset. So the goal is not becoming whatever you want to become, like I want to become a senior, or I want to become a team leader, or I want to become a backend, because whatever you want to do, that's not the final goal. The goal is the way to get there. Every effort you invest on learning that new thing is going to make you a better professional, a better developer. It doesn't matter if you have 5 minutes a day to invest or 3 hours. It doesn't matter. Every step you do is going to make you closer to that state.
Yeah, in fact, I think similar to Daniel. With my tips are similar but a bit different. For example, the lean management part, I'm applying also that. And sometimes when I'm speaking with or with people inside the team, or I'm a mentor of somebody else, I ask them for a long-term goal, like what you want to be in 2 years. But of course, that plan can change a lot. And it's something that I'm super transparent with them. But the lean management part starts with this. If you know that you want to go there in 2 years, let's split that in different small steps that we can accomplish in some weeks or a couple of months. And in that way, you are seeing the value of what you are learning for going in that direction. And of course, going in that direction is not always a straightforward line. And that's the important part that Daniel said, is the process is the important part. Because when you are moving in that direction, maybe you are learning something new that you are interested in also, and you are changing a little bit the direction, and you are going in this another path, and after that you are going there and there. So it's not a straightforward line. And also my second tip is adapt to the people. Because as we said before, this is super personal, and there are some people that prefers to have a bullet list where they can check what they did. Other prefers to be more informal talk with some not so specific goals, but at least you are guiding them. So you need to adapt to the people always. So that's my tip. Don't go with a strict framework or with something that you have in your mind that will work, because maybe that person is not the same as you, and your plan won't adapt that person.
I will take even a step back, and this is something that I notice whenever we have a young leader. It's like taking this responsibility that my team member has to grow and has to develop, and this is my responsibility as a supporter. No, it's not. Your responsibility here is to provide feedback, give a piece of advice, give some tools, maybe show the options if the person cannot see, for example. So be like a partner in crime, but not be the responsible person for development of your team members. They are responsible for the developments. You are there to help. And the second thing is being brave sometimes. So sometimes, using different tools, like pushing people out of the comfort zone and give them a higher project or bigger responsibility, even if they are not 120% ready for it, because this way they will learn the most. Or saying even sometimes very brave and honest that, okay, this is not the part that I can help you. I'm not feeling good in this area, but I know Angel, I know Dani, I know Anna that are great in it, and they can help you instead of me much better. So also being, very senior person in the end when you lead others.
Yeah,
And
I agree
your-
with you. Sorry,
Sorry.
no, I agree with Evelina that being a senior is not knowing everything. It's
Yeah,
knowing
exactly.
that you don't know a lot of things and where you can move the people to ask certain questions or to learn certain things. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that the more senior you are, the more aware you are of what you don't know, and less confident of whatever you are doing.
Yeah.
That's true.
How do you work as a mentors with, I guess that for us to understand maybe the tech part is easier in the way like to learn a new framework and so on and so on. But with the soft skills, how do you work with that?
I again try to use a lot of coaching skills and don't judge situations. And again, I try to find opportunities, but then in the other side of the conversation, when people talk me about their frustrations, for example, with their manager or with their teammates or with the whole company, with these situations, I try to tell them that that's an opportunity for growing. When they are frustrated with a teammate, for example, then I introduce how to give effective feedback, how to learn about that, where to read, also emotional intelligence, this kind of situation, but always trying to find a driver for helping them on that specific problem they have. I think also when people are frustrated with managers, there are techniques to coach managers or also to communicate with managers. Managers understand a language that we are not aware. They are worried about risks. They are worried about effort, cost of the things. So if you want to refactor a whole application, they are going to raise their eyebrow and say, oh, why do we need to do this now at this moment and not later, and these kind of things. No? So all these kind of skills to communicate and deal with people, I try to introduce them when there is the right opportunity.
Okay, so I would say that, that feedback. I think that this is the most powerful tool that we can use, like giving feedback just after the situation, or maybe like one day after, not waiting for the annual performance review or some other strange things that happen sometimes in the companies. The second thing for me that works, especially when talking about soft skills, is something that Dani mentioned already: questions, asking a really good questions like, what if we want to do it? Or what happened if you want to change this? Or if you want to learn? So this kind of open questions, but the questions that will, and of course it depends on the person. So it's not like, a set of 10 good questions. It will be different for each person, but the questions that will push you to think about yourself, about your goals, about how you do certain things, and if it's the best way.
A question for you here, because I'm doing something similar also, because the soft skill part sometimes is much harder to measure. if you are improving on that or not. So how you measure or how do you plan for this? Because, for example, I'm doing a lot of questions, like you said, Evelina and Dani. And when I do this question, sometimes are hard questions, and I tell the people, okay, you don't need to answer me yet. You need to think about it, write it down. You don't even need to share that with me because it's something personal for you. So if you don't want to share your answer, you don't need to do it. But in the end, how you can measure that you are going in the right direction also with these questions? Because sometimes I also have that question. How I can measure that people is improving? Sometimes I see that the attitude is changing and they are improving a lot inside the team, but I don't know if they are also aware of that.
Can I answer first? What I try to do is to define behaviors I want to stop seeing and behaviors I want to start seeing. That's how I measure. If I observe that a person always avoids conflict, for example, and I'm working on with them to improve that, I expect behaviors, not concrete behaviors, but every time that person receives feedback, then it's sad, it's upset, it comes to me very frustrated. I want to stop seeing that, and what I want to start seeing is I don't know, talking to other people or raising their voice in retros or these kind of things. This is how I try to measure that.
What I would add is that the first thing is also about when you self-assessment. So you see the progress, and sometimes people don't see the progress. So then there is feedback again, also as known as recognition. So you can give this recognition like, hey, I see this change in you, and I see how much work you put into it. And what I would also add here is more that this development leads to something. Development of soft skills leads to something. For example, that the team is delivering more, or the team is working in a better atmosphere, or is creating more ideas. So in the end, you see how it impacts the team.
I remembered something from something you said. Did you know this known-unknown matrix that says what I know and others know, what I know and others don't know, what others know and I don't know, and the unexpected area?
Yeah.
I think that again, feedback is the most powerful tool for developing that and raising that unknown area. If you are trying to develop a skill, if it's short or hard, it doesn't matter. Try to identify situations where you were trying to improve that and ask concrete feedback about that specific situation. For example, if you are very quiet in meetings and you are trying to improve your communication, after a meeting, ask some people, hey, how do you see me in this situation when I was talking about that? Do you think I was too aggressive? Do you think that? Ask a specific feedback about that. And people will tell you. Maybe you are undermining yourself and thinking that you are performing worse than actually you are.
Mm-hmm. But it's really interesting because this is one of the advice that on one of our webinars were given to the manager, that if you are not getting feedback, for example, from your team members, and I would expand it to everyone, you can say directly that, hey, I'm working on this specific thing. So whenever you have feedback for me or some tips or some hints, you're more than welcome to share it with me. So it also can be a really powerful tool in the end.
And I would add that that's a very powerful tool for managers, because if you do that, you are leading with example. If your manager, your leader is opening themselves and telling that they are trying to improve something, there's no reason for you not to imitate that. You are going to imitate that behavior. You are going to be safe saying, hey, I'm also trying to improve that. I'm going to do the same as you. That's what leadership is about.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we have talked about the journey of discover what can be your career path and so on, and it comes with a lot of question in the way. But we have talked also that somehow we all have in the mind that the path for development is to become a team leader or to become a manager and so on. What are, from your experience, the other ways of developing? We have other ways like T-shape or any other role that can be an option for developers.
In fact, I think that we have hundreds of different opportunities, not only becoming a team lead or an engineering manager or whatever. Because I think that something positive that we have in software industry is that we have a lot of new technologies and a lot of new challenges, and you can learn so many different things that you don't have enough life for learning everything. I mean, maybe you started as a backend developer or pure backend developer, and you start to get some interest in the whole life process of the project. That will imply the servers, the DevOps part, also the front end, the architecture, and a lot of things that are complex and requires a lot of knowledge. So I think that your development plan is not only becoming a team leader or something like that. You can learn a lot of different things, and you can also create your own profile. Like you say, the T-shape developer. And the good point is that shape, you can do whatever you want, because you can be a backend and frontend at the same time, or you can be a DevOps guy that also likes C# and Python and is also developing, or you can also get involved in the product, in the business part, because maybe you are a frontend and you are interested in the user experience, and also you can enter in the design part, in doing interviews with your users and so on. So I think that the opportunities are a lot of, not only becoming a team lead or an engineering manager. Yeah. And also I think that we need to avoid the names in the roles, because sometimes people can get frustrated because they've been the last 10 years a senior developer and they didn't change the name of their position. But come on, if every day you are learning something new, that's the important part.
I couldn't agree more with you. Yeah, because I think that tags or names in the roles are making people think that professional development, it's like a ladder. You start as a junior, then as regular, senior, and next step is manager, leader, whatever. And that are different professions, as we were saying before. There are plenty of opportunities to help your team as a product developer. We develop products. We can learn about user experience or how to deliver faster, how to deliver with security, how to introduce quality in our development, best practices, how to communicate with the backend, with the front end, with the different areas of our product, and also understand about the business, why not? Or about data, why not? Everything you learn new is going to help your team, and it's going to make your team more autonomous and more able to solve your users' needs. It's great to be a specialist, and there is a path you can have if you are really into backend development at this moment. This is great. Become the best backend developer you can. But maybe as Angel was saying before, your priorities and your motivations change in 2 years, and you realize that your team is needing more QA skills. So let's learn about automation. Let's learn about QA automation frameworks. Let's learn about how to automate visual regressions, for example. That is something that nobody's doing. There are plenty of opportunities to learn just as a developer. And as we say, becoming a leader, becoming a manager is another job.
I can add really interesting path as well. So a lot of companies are doing a lot of employer branding activities. So you can learn like public speaking if you are this spokesperson in behalf of the company on some conferences or meetups. And it can be really interesting in the end, and leaving the comfort zone for some of us. For some of us, probably less. But writing even articles is something that you can learn and improve your writing skills. But in the end, also writing helps you structure some things in your hand, some of the idea in your head, structure some ideas. It can also then help you whenever you're trying to convince somebody else in talking, because you structure it before in some way. Helping your younger colleagues, less senior colleagues in some way. Being the person in the company that always came up with, the very new solutions or the very new trends that pop up in the market. And even if you will not implement all of them because the company doesn't need at the moment, then you learn something and you learn other people. So like Angel and Dani said, like, the plate is full of opportunities.
And as a conclusion of this roundtable, we have talked that it's a path, and what it matters is not to finish with a certain name or role. So it's just to enjoy the journey and take a piece every day of the things that you are learning. What it could be your tip for this growth mindset for the people, how to appreciate the things that they are, it's not a ladder, like taking different steps. So how to see these small improvements that happens daily.
This is a hard one.
Say, yeah, I would say again,
Dani, please.
Yeah, I would say again, ask for feedback. That's a powerful tool. And also, something I'm recommending lately is doing personal retros. This is, for example, every week or every 3 weeks, or in the time period you may choose. Dedicate some time during your week to reflect on what you are doing, what you are trying to achieve, what you are trying to improve, and decide some actionable items. And this helps me a lot, for example, to don't spend too much time without revisiting how I'm doing and how I'm working. For example, if I'm trying to improve my communication, because I had an opportunity of improvement in a meeting, for example. First of all, I will ask for feedback to validate that I need to improve that. If I'm aware that I need to, I'll try to decide a couple of small items to do, and then revisit them in 2 weeks. Have I done this? Is this working? Do I know if this is working or not? If it doesn't, why? A couple of questions, like a team retro but personal. Dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to revisit how you are performing.
I will also add to be super flexible, as I said before. And don't get frustrated if your motivations or what you like change a lot in the next years or even in the next months. And don't take that as a blocker or as a wall. It's an opportunity, in fact. And that is aligned with the personal retro, because if you do a personal retro, maybe you get your insights why you are interested in a different path from this point. And
yeah. There's something very cool about retros in general, and is that if something is not important enough to have an actionable item and it doesn't come up in the next retro, you can forget about it because it's not important to you anymore. It's and maybe if you don't do that, you don't raise awareness of that. You can be very frustrated about something that nobody cares about, not even you.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. What I can add is like schedule a time for your development, not maybe like in calendar, but in general, if you will not have any time for development and just run after each task, one task to another and one project to another, it's really, really hard to have this feeling. So have your time.
Also super important, having time for that. And if you don't have time, make time for it because it's super important.
Okay. So thank you very much for the suggestions of the books. And Dani, it was a pleasure having you today here. We have learned a lot from you and from your experience. I hope that we can do another one soon.
And good luck with your mentorship project.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here. Very funny.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.